then we'll get started. Okay, so let's get started. So, because the weather has turned a little bit, we need to be warm for this. So warmth is always a real priority with restorative yoga. So just make sure that you've got a blanket to put over your normal mat, and then if you can, I'm going to use this other blanket over here. Have a blanket to cover yourself with. Wear some socks. So just make sure that you feel like you can get comfortable and you can maintain warmth, because otherwise, if you're not warm, you find it really hard to relax. So have a blanket, a folded blanket in front underneath your head, a bolster for underneath your knees, and then a couple of blocks for underneath your feet. If you've got something to cover your eyes with, like one of these eye pillows, then you can use that. Otherwise, just have your eyes closed. So just blanket underneath your head, bolster underneath your knees, and then the blocks for underneath your feet. So cover yourself over if you need to. It's a bit chilly up here tonight, so I'm going to cover myself, and then have something to cover your eyes if you can, just so that you remove the lightness from your eyes, creating a little bit of darkness. So just get yourself comfortable, just stretch out along the floor. So when I first come into this basic relaxation pose, I think one of the first things that I feel is this extreme sense of relief to finally be in a position that supports your back, that feels really comfortable, and gives you a feeling that what you're going to be doing next is a really good session of relaxation. So that amazing feeling of suddenly being able to just relax, feeling how the chest opens a little from your back in contact with the floor. So just listen to the sound of your breath as it enters and as it exits. Remember, if you're not comfortable, then adjust your position until you are, because there's nothing to be gained from just trying to suffer discomfort. This practice is all about finding comfort and support. So release your jaw. Draw your lower teeth away from your upper teeth. Soften your tongue in your mouth. Just listen to the sound of your breath. Observe where your body makes contact with the floor. Observe where the equipment supports you, where the bolster is supporting the backs of your legs. Where the blocks are supporting your feet. Where the blanket supports your head and your neck. Just observe where the body makes contact with the floor. Draw your attention into the soles of your feet. Feel that the skin of the soles of the feet come to life just by drawing your mental attention into the soles of the feet. Feel the skin and the flesh and the muscle and the bone. And then consciously release the skin and the flesh and the muscle and the bone of the underside of the foot, of the sole of the foot. Relax the sole of the foot. Draw your attention to the top of your foot, to the skin and the flesh and the muscle and the bone, observing that the top of the foot perhaps has less skin, less flesh, but just as much muscle, just as many bones. Draw your attention into the sensory perception of the skin and the muscle and the bone of the top of the foot. And then consciously release and relax the top of the foot, the skin and the flesh and the muscle and the bone. Draw your attention into your shins. So the skin of the shins becomes activated. And then observe the skin and the flesh and the muscle and the bone. Allowing the shin bone and the shin skin to sink into the bed of the calf muscle. Relaxing the shin bone, relaxing the shins. Draw your attention into your thighs, to the fronts of your thighs. Spend a moment to physically acknowledge the skin and the flesh and the muscle and the bone, observing that with each body part the balance of skin and flesh and muscle and bone is different. And then completely release the fronts of the thighs, allowing the fronts of the thighs to sink into the backs of the thighs. Draw your attention into your torso. Become conscious of the skin and the flesh and the muscle and the bones of the spine and of the rib cage. And then consciously relax the skin and the flesh, and muscle and the bone of the upper torso and of the lower torso and the abdomen. Draw your attention into your arms, into your upper arms and the shoulders, into the elbows, into the forearms, into the palms of the hands. Drawing your attention into the arms and into the hands and into the fingers, into the skin and the flesh and the muscle and the bone. And then consciously relax your arms, softening the skin and the flesh and the muscle and the bone. Allowing your arms to surrender into the floor. Draw your attention into your neck. Softening the neck, and the skin and the flesh and the muscle and into the bone. Drawing your attention into your skull, feeling the skin and the flesh and the muscle and the bones. And then relax the skin of the head, lengthening the skin from the crown of the head down into the forehead, as though liquid is dripping from the top of the head down the face, smoothing out the forehead, smoothing out the muscles of the face, completely surrendering into the straight line of the floor. Giving yourself permission to relax, to release into the floor, to let go of the tensions of the day. So relaxation doesn't necessarily come easily, but it's really valuable for our immune system, for our stress levels. You heal the body with relaxation. So learning to relax helps to heal the body, to heal the mind. So remember that as we practice, I'll speak less and less, just to give you the opportunity to relax rather than keeping the brain switched on so that you can listen. And when you're ready to gently disturb yourself, just wiggle your toes, wiggle your fingers, And then bend your knees, bring your feet onto the bolster. Just stay with your feet on the bolster with your knees together for a moment or two. And then just roll onto your side and bring yourself up into a seated position. Just sit in cross legs for a moment or two. Just feel how your energy has changed. And then we're going to do a spinal lengthening pose. So this is lovely. So you don't need the blocks for your feet, but get your blanket and unfold it so that you've got a long kind of eighth fold like this. If you've got kind of hem, if you've got big chunky bits on the hem, just have that so that it's going to be away from your head. And then you bring that down onto the floor and then fold it down the center and then fold it down the middle again. So you've got quite a chunky little blanket bolster for your back. So make sure it's in the middle of your blanket, of your mat, and then you want the other bolster for underneath your knees. And Jeff might be getting involved in this as well at some stage. So I think Arthur's in here as well. So you've got your bolster underneath your knees, and then you're not sitting on the little folded up blanket. You just it's about an inch away from your lower back, and then just guide yourself down along the rolled up blanket, and then get hold of the end of the blanket and then roll it up so you've got a little cushion for your head. And then the position of the bolster underneath your knees determines how much length you feel in your spine. So again, if it's not comfortable, just adjust and just move so that it does become comfortable, just lengthening yourself along the blanket. So I find that if I bring the bolster into the tops of my thighs, it kind of softens the lumbar, but you don't get that feeling of length. But if you put the bolster just underneath the backs of the knees, just around the calf muscles, the backs of the knees, then you get this feeling of elongation in the spine. So again, just cover yourself so that you're going to remain warm. And then again, if you can cover your eyes, then do. So this is just a spinal lengthening pose. So it feels as though the spine is being lengthened along the blanket, the rolled up blanket underneath your back. So again, just let go, just release, and just let the physical body relax into the floor. So remember, if the pose is not comfortable, then just adjust until it is comfortable. This pose is really good for energy, just allowing you to release energy around the spine. You're ready to disturb yourself, just wiggle your toes, wiggle your fingers. And again, bend your knees, just rest your feet on your bolster, your knees together. And then gently roll over onto your side. Just bring yourself up into just a seated position, just again, just sitting cross legs, just observe your energy, how your energy changes from pose to pose. Breathing evenly and deeply. Okay, and then we're going to go from our spinal lengthening pose into mountain brook. So just get your blanket again and kind of unfold it so that we're back at this kind of eighth fold, and fold it down the middle, and then fold it down the middle again. So you've got this kind of shorter but kind of quite fat blanket, and then that is going to go underneath your shoulders. So again, you use your bolster underneath your knees, and the shoulder blades are going to sit on top of the blanket. So there's it's quite a hefty lift underneath your shoulder blades. So the tops of your shoulders are on the floor. This is just underneath your shoulder blades, and then just rest your arms over your head like this. So you're just got the bolster underneath your knees, and then your arms just rest over your head. So again, using your blanket just to really keep yourself warm and comfortable. Just adjust if it feels uncomfortable. Cover your eyes if you can. And then release into the floor. So this pose of Mountain Brook is really, really effective in just releasing latent energy from the shoulders. So as we progress, I'll talk less and less so that you can just focus on relaxing rather than paying attention. Just enjoying the feeling of the pose. This pose gives you a sense of opening in the armpit region, which is really good for the immune system. When you're ready to disturb yourself, just bring your arms back to the side of the body. Again, bend your knees, just rest your feet on the bolster, and then gently roll yourself up into a seated position. Just sitting cross legs. Just observe how your energy has changed. And then we're going to do a really nice pose for your back. Now you need 2 bolsters for this if you've got it. If you haven't got 2 bolsters, then 1 bolster and some extra blankets will work fine. So if you've got 2 bolsters, lay one on top of the other like this. Now this looks initially quite high, but it's actually usually if it feels too high, then you can just, rather than having that second bolster, you can just have the blanket as you just had it folded on top, just to give you a bit of extra height. But the extra height usually feels pretty good. So I'll show you, I'm going to give you an alternative pose if this looks like it might be a little strong, because this is not so much, this is a little bit more of a stretch than a relaxation pose. So you're going to find the upper bolster in your waist, and then you kind of roll yourself over so that it stays in your waist, and then you straighten your 2 legs. You can have 1 foot in front of the other, so you can have the top foot in front of the other, or you can have the top 2 feet together, and then you stretch your arms out along the floor so you're in a good straight line, and then you just stretch so that top foot can come forwards or it can stay in front. If this feels too strong, then what you can do instead is just have 1 bolster and then just bring yourself along. So it's just the upper body is lifted, your legs are along the floor, and then you've got the blanket for underneath your head like that. So if the other one looks too strong for you, then, or it feels too strong, then you can do the 2 bolsters. So you just have that upper bolster in the waist area, and then straight, so kind of lean onto your elbow, straighten your 2 legs, and then stretch your arms over. Now we don't stay in this for too long, but again, it needs to be relatively comfortable. So you just let yourself just rest over the 2 lifts. Just breathe nice and easily. So we're not going to stay here for quite as long as the other poses. If it feels strong, then you can bring the top foot forwards of the bottom foot. So it's just a gentle activity in the body, just a gentle stretch, but the bolsters make the pose feel quite intense. So although it's the waist that's in the bolster, try not to roll onto your front. Keep on the side of your body. And then to come out of the pose, not staying there very long, bend your knees, and then just bring your hands underneath your shoulders, just roll onto your front of your waist a little, and then just bring yourself up into a seated position. Just again, just feel how the energy changes between the poses. So maybe the side that was supported with the bolster feels like it's really, the skin has really come to life a little. So you can either just turn around and do the other side, or you can step over onto the other side of your bolster and then do the other side. So again, it's the waist area. So it's the kind of area between the hip and the ribs. So that is what comes onto the lift, and then straighten the legs and straighten the arms. So the upper abdominal walls get a good stretch, but it's the bolster that's in the abdominal wall on the kind of floor side that really gets all of the energy. So just gently lengthening out, trying to be in a straight line. You can make it softer in the hips by just placing the top foot in front of the bottom foot. You can keep the 2 feet together. So it's the side of the body on the bolster, or you can go into the other pose that I showed you where your back is on the bolster and your chest is facing up towards the ceiling. Okay, and then just bend your knees, bend your elbows so they're underneath the chest. Just roll onto your front a little, and then just bring yourself up. Just sit either in cross legs or on your heels. Spend a moment just to observe how your energy has changed. Letting that energy settle a little. And then just get one bolster for your back. Have a blanket for underneath your head. Just a folded blanket for your head. And then just stretch yourself out. A long Bolster the blanket underneath your head. So just make sure you can just stretch out, let your legs just rest on the floor. Then cover your eyes if you can. Cover yourself with the blanket just to keep yourself warm. And release into the floor. If this feels uncomfortable in your back, then you can just lay flat on the floor in our basic relaxation pose that we do at the beginning. Bring your awareness to your breath and notice how it sounds like the ocean. Imagine you are sitting on the beach watching the ocean. Feel the sun and the breeze on your skin, the soft sand underneath you. Listening to the call of the birds in the sky above you and the sound of the gentle tide. Observe the waves washing up onto the shore, then gliding back into the ocean. Begin to synchronize your breath with the tide. As you inhale, imagine you are drawing the waves towards you as they wash up the beach. As you exhale, imagine that you send the waves back to join the ocean, feeling that you are connected with the water and the ocean. Let each exhale wash away pain and sadness. Feel each inhale fill you with compassion and joy. Each exhale washes away pain and sadness, drifting into the body of the sea. And each inhale fills you with freshness, with compassion and joy. Now return to the sensations within your body and feel your breath return to normal. Just normal inhalations, normal exhalations. Okay, when you're ready to disturb yourself, just gently wiggle your toes, wiggle your fingers. Just roll onto your side, onto your right side. Just be aware that obviously you're on the bolster, so it might be a little higher. And then straighten your top leg, come back up into the seated position, just a final cross legs with your hands in the Masti. Draw your breath in through your nose down into the abdomen. Be conscious of the energy that you've released through your gentle practice. Good, positive, healthy flow of clean energy that the sequence of restorative poses bring to the body and to the mind. And then draw your chin down to meet your chest. Spend a moment to seek to acknowledge the positive energy you've created inside. And then send some of that positive energy out into the world. And then very gently release the backs of your hands down toward your knees, your palms facing upwards. And as you raise your head, allow your eyes to softly open and the focus to softly come back. Thank you very much. Thank you. So hopefully you feel as though you've just really lengthened yourself out a little bit, but you've released your energy. So you've got lots of good energy to put into your evening. So thank you very much for joining me.